How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Now, I know it's kind of late at night right now. It's like 2 in the morning here in Sweden when I'm recording this, but something really important actually just showed up, and I want to talk about this and discuss it, because I think it could potentially tell us what's to come on the 5th when we're going to see the Pokemon Direct. This actually may give us indication of what the new mechanic in Pokemon is going to be. So let's take a look at it, because this was posted by PokeExperto, and I thought we'd discuss this because it's a brand new trademark. Now, as you may also notice, there is no face cam. For some reason, my webcam doesn't work. Also, it's really late, so it's dark around here anyways, which means you most likely wouldn't see me properly anyway. But either way, this showed up and I thought I'd cover it. So first of all, sorry for not uploading anything for 2 days, and for this one being, well, essentially middle of the morning. Pretty shitty timing, I know, but either way, I just wanted to cover this and talk about it because I don't know why, but this is like really, really cool. So let's take a look at this. So Nintendo and Creatures Gamefreak have registered the brand new trademark, hashtag PokeGenic. Now, PokeGenic is under the category 41, Education of Sports and Arts, Organization of Courses, Electronic Publications. Jeez, I messed up my voice there. But this is interesting, right? And the reason I mention that is because look at the name, first of all, PokeGenic, which kind of sounds like genetical, like something genetic within Pokemon, like, you know, how you have Mega Evolutions, right? They're Mega Evolutions. They're the kind of Mega version of evolutions. They're the extreme of that, right? PokeGenic sounds like genetics and then mixed with Pokemon. So you're going to be messing around with the genetics of Pokemon, which would make a lot of sense because there's been a lot of talk about like, oh, you know, armored evolutions, shit like that. But now we actually have something that could be a direct indication. Could PokeGenic be like the potentially, okay, and this is just potentially, be the next feature we're gonna get, because usually these trademarks will come through and close to when reveals are gonna happen they come through, or could this be more or less related to gyms? Because do remember, gyms are seemingly different in Galar, like they're clearly going to be somewhat different based on the small amounts of information we've been given. They seem like they're going to be slightly different from what we're used to. So the big question, I guess, is this it? Is PokeGenic going to be the new thing? And if so, what's PokeGenic specifically? Or also, do notice that this is under the category 41, which means it doesn't fall under the same category as the other ones we've seen, which usually when it's like, you know, something related to the games, there's usually another indication there. It's like, oh, it's video games and etc, etc, etc. But this one's specifically under the tab of Education of Sports and Arts, which is really weird because when I think of sports, I'm thinking like within Pokemon, I'm thinking Pokethalon, right? Stuff like that is what I'm thinking, or Pokemon contests. That's like the closest thing to sports you have in Pokemon. And then, of course, gyms and stuff is the only other thing I can think of when it comes to sports. Then organization of courses, which again seems like it's more in line with something like a sport, right? And then electronic publications is where I get really confused because I'm not sure what that implies with all of this. So it's a little bit of a weird situation. I'm kind of stuck on what this specifically could mean. Are we either looking at a situation where this could potentially be like, oh, just kind of whatever and not that important? Or is this potentially something more? Is this potentially something, you know, related to what's to come? And big, first of all, shout out to PokeExperto, because if it wasn't for PokeExperto, I wouldn't even be able to like look into this, because he's always like super quick with this sort of stuff, and it's really freaking appreciated because it does help out getting things, you know, kind of, you know, understood and stuff like that. So big shout out to PokeExperto to begin with. So I don't know, I mean, I'm stuck on this one. I'm gonna be honest, it's a bit of a weird one, right? Because in one way, you gotta notice, it was registered by Nintendo, Creatures, and Gamefreak, and the only time they do something like that is if it's either related to the TCG or the video games, or like one of the important things, right? If it's just something for like a, you know, specific aspect of Pokemon, like a tiny thing that, you know, doesn't feel like isn't relevant, then, you know, you wouldn't notice it as much. But this came up in a weird way. Now, of course, this could also be literally like something totally different, or even like a brand new app, which is unlikely because it doesn't fall under seemingly that category. And again, I don't know, I'm still stuck on the education of sports and arts part, because it just feels to me like this is related in some way or shape to the gyms. Because do remember that when we saw the trailer for the gyms, the character, when they walked into the gym, seemingly had a football uniform, like a sports uniform, right? Like they were about to, you know, play a sport. And here we have included education of sports and arts, which to me gives me that feeling that, is this potentially what we're looking at here? Is this potentially related to that, or is this something totally different? Then of course we also have organization of courses and electronic publications, which organization of courses makes it seem more like it's something educational, which I'm not sure if that's what it's meant to be, but it does kind of fall into that. Like, it's kind of weird and hard to explain. There isn't really like an easy way to kind of break it down. But at the same time, then you also have electronic publications, which doesn't really explain itself whatsoever. So the only part here that seems to kind of give me a better education, like indication, so to say, is actually seemingly just the education of sports and arts. I feel like that's the only one that actually feels straight up, straightforward, without any major like hiccups. So I would love to know, guys, what do you guys think about this? Because I think PokeGenic could potentially be either like a new form of evolution, which would make a lot of sense, some form of like brand new like sort of Pokemon that we can have, or this could be related to like the in-game kind of system that exists, right? The in-game system for the gyms, which is going to include PokeGenics, right? You're going to be using Pokemon in different ways, like in a different way than what we used to. They're going to, do it like some genetical mumbo-jumbo with it, right? Like, I feel like anything is possible, but I'd love to know in the comment section down below, ladies and gentlemen, like, what do you guys think about this? And sorry, it's like 2 in the morning, so if I seem a little bit flimsy and all over the place, well, it's because I literally am. So yeah, that's that one. Now, I quickly want to go through this one, because it was sent to me by B Web, which is one of our long-time viewers, who want to just give, like, hear my opinion on this rumor that popped up, which was I don't know, it just popped up, but it popped up, and I thought I'd just quickly go through it, see what it has to say. There's been a lot of these recently, and there's one I'm probably going to cover tomorrow, technically today, but later on I'm going to cover like another one which kind of goes into, I guess, like more Galarian forms and what they could be like and stuff like that, which I think is most likely fake, because most of these do tend to end up being fake, and honestly there's been so many of them, and I kind of strayed away from them, trying to avoid them and kind of waiting for more like interesting stuff like this, because honestly PokeGenic could be anything, so that kind of like really gets me interested. But this, I don't know. So here's what this one says: Sword and Shield Direct Leaks Leaks, new Pokemon, Turk Roach, which just sounds weird, Mag Fuji, Terrakbar. Okay, these names are weird. So Bugfire, Cockroach Pokemon, Route 1 Bug, Poison Flying, Magpie Pokemon, Route 1 Bird, and then Groundfire Mole Pokemon with a beard and a turban. Come on, this is literally like, come on, dude. It's meant to be an offensive joke. Terrakbar, really? Come on. It's meant to be literally a racist joke. Like, look at it. Is this even, like, are these people even fucking trying at this point? This is why I don't cover these, because like it's kind of like easily, like, there's no point in reading the rest of it, because honestly it's so easy to spot these. Like, come on, dude, the name and even it's honestly just kind of a pointless sometimes with these. But either way, I guess we can leave this one in the ditch, and I guess get back to PokeGenic, which honestly at this point could be really anything. And I mean, we gotta remember though, we do have a Pokemon Direct coming up in literally 3 days. I mean, if you don't, for I guess Americans it's still like 4 days, but for me it's 3 days, not counting the morning here, or do count in the morning. Either way, the point I'm trying to get to is that it's not too far away, which means we're gonna get the answers to this very soon, and we'll know exactly what it is. And of course, I will be streaming everything. I'll be streaming the Pokemon Direct. I'll be having like a scheduled stream. I'll be doing a pre-stream 3 hours before the actual Pokemon Direct, just kind of talking about what I expect, my predictions, stuff like that, chilling with Chad, having a good time, just waiting until things kind of finally pop up and we get into it. So we're gonna be doing that, but besides that though, I don't really know. I mean, honestly, man, like PokeGenic could be anything. And the only thing that, we know for certain where Pokemon's messed up in their promotion so far is that one tweet from Nintendo of America where they tweeted about the gyms saying, are you excited for the Gym Masters? And this doesn't include Gym Masters in it, right? It's PokeGenic. Doesn't seem to be any connection there. But when it comes down to the region we're going to, it is a region that has a lot of athleticism to it, a lot of sports and stuff like that. And even, I mean, the world's biggest sport, football, comes from there. So it's just kind of a situation where anything is possible. But again, I'd love to know your opinions on this, guys. Do remember, I will be live streaming the Pokemon Direct. It's going to be on the 5th of June, so be ready. We're in June right now. It's kind of crazy. We're already 2nd day of June now, but we're in June, which means you're going to be seeing it very soon. And hopefully we'll know what the hell PokeGenic is. Maybe it has nothing to do with Sword and Shield. Maybe this is related to something totally different. This could even have to do something with Pokemon Home, which people have like, been speculating, how's Pokemon Home going to work? Will you be able to just kind of keep any Pokemon in there? Will you have to pay for Pokemon Home? And I'm actually really curious, like, if you have Pokemon Bank, do you need like to keep paying for Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Home, or will Pokemon Home end up being free? And since it's going through the phone and your phone's going to be kind of the hub for everything, how is that going to, like, work out really well with like 3DSs and all that sort of stuff? Like, how's that going to work in general, which is like the biggest question. I guess it's going to be quite interesting to see how they're going to make that work. And of course there's Pokemon Masters, which I'm excited for. I've already said it a million times, but I'm so hyped for those games. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of the video. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.